Hey, Star Wars fans, we are back here at the Comlink, coming to you live for the very, very first time here in our beautiful Comlink studios in Burbank, California. And we're doing the Star Wars news. It's Friday at 1 o'clock Western time. And joining me is Amy Ratcliffe. Amy, welcome.
Thank you.
To Comlink.
Thank you. It's so exciting to be. It's been a while since I've been on the set.
It has been, I think, since the holidays.
Christmas, right?
Yeah, since Christmas.
Yeah.
Now, for those of you that don't know, I mean, Amy writes all the copy for the show, all the news, plus you do all the social media. So you've all been talking to Amy, whether you knew it or not. If you're a fan of the Comlink, you're a fan of Amy Ratcliffe, and I just can't wait to talk to you.
Bring them all in.
That's right, just bring them all in. Well, we had a busy week in Star Wars. Of course, everything seems like a busy
Every
week
busy
in Star
week.
Wars.
I know. You get those points where you're like, are we ever not going to talk about Star Wars? Is there ever going to be a dry spell? And it never happens.
Especially not this week. Now we have a lot going on. Here it is. Now that we're live, we can say this. Star Wars Rebels Season 2 premieres tomorrow, Saturday.
Saturday, 9 p.m.
9 p.m. And you've seen the episode.
Yeah, I saw it. I saw it at Celebration, and I actually watched it again just yesterday.
You did?
I did.
So we can't talk about it, obviously.
No spoilers. Don't worry.
But the anticipation for it, I mean, the trailers look amazing. And, of course, all we can really say is you're not going to want to miss it.
No.
You can see some of the B-roll that we're running here live. This is our first, live news stream. Hope you're all tuning in and checking it out. But yeah, there he is, the Dark Lord of the Sith himself, Darth Vader, meeting the crew of Star Wars Rebels.
Yeah, and that's a huge thing. That's a clip from what's happening Saturday night. It's actually a 1-hour movie event, as they are calling it. So you're getting 2 episodes,
right.
And Darth Vader shows up, and that's just a taste, guys.
Yeah, just amazing, unbelievable. And can we talk about other characters in Rebels? Now I'm starting to wonder. Now, do we know? Yeah, we know.
We can talk at least about from things we saw in the trailer.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Because everybody's seen.
Yeah.
Everybody should have seen the trailer by now. If you haven't, you'll like it.
Yeah.
Go find it.
Well, James Earl Jones, has been the voice of Darth Vader in Rebels Season 1 and was incredible. Without giving anything away, I mean, I feel like his performance is just. It's just so good. Like, I mean,
he adds so much to it. Like, you can have Vader and absolutely be voiced by someone else, but it's not going to be the same. So to get him on a semi-regular basis, I think we're going to see him, or even once in a while for an animated series. It's pretty great.
Yeah, and it really feels like Star Wars when suddenly Darth Vader shows up on screen and now is interacting with these new characters from Rebels. It's pretty.
I mean, it makes it more. I don't know if this sounds silly, but it makes Rebels more real to me, like more integrated into the universe.
Makes Star Wars more real. Yes,
like cartoons
I totally
more
follow
real.
you.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, I absolutely follow you. And what a great way to kick off Season 2. Of course, Season 1 was such a huge success, but it really does kind of go up a notch here with Season 2 on Saturday, so can't wait to check that out.
Yeah, just a non-spoilery reaction. And you can give one too. If you have a non-spoiler reaction to the premiere, mine is like, they're going there.
Right.
Like, already.
They're going there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not wasting any time. No. It just got real. Yeah, we were both at Celebration. I was hosting the digital stage.
Right.
And just, I mean, it's almost unfair because I got to watch it with a crowd of 2,000 people, right? So did you.
Yeah.
And people lost their minds. They were just freaking out. Like, it was incredible.
Like, repeatedly, and that adds to it as well.
Yeah.
But
so it kind of felt like a real cinematic Star Wars experience. So I'm looking forward to that. Do you have any plans to watch it tomorrow?
I don't. I actually don't have cable set up yet. So.
But you watched it yesterday, so.
But I have it on my computer for work. So.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll probably be iTunes has been
your go-to.
Yeah, so I can watch it over and over.
We need to find somebody who's in LA. Like, why don't you just put together a last-minute party and we'll come to. We're inviting ourselves to your home.
Well, there are some TVs here. We should just do it here in the studio.
Wait
I just
a second.
realized, like, we could probably.
We could figure that out.
Got all this cool stuff here. Look at this, by the way. Force Awakens helmet.
I had that on in about 2 seconds.
Yeah, I haven't put it on yet. I still
do
haven't
it.
Put it on. Yeah, this is like the First Order. Does it fit? Amy, it doesn't fit.
Not quite.
My head is too big. It's just too big. Yeah, I think I need to get a larger Stormtrooper helmet for me, but this doesn't quite fit. But Force Awakens, that's pretty amazing. That is the First Order, right? It's not like New Order.
First Order.
Like all these, we're in this weird period of talking about the Force Awakens where there's all this new stuff coming out. Right.
A lot of
And
stuff.
I kind of know what it is. I kind of know what it's called, but I try and force myself to forget because I want to save it for the movie.
Really, to that degree, you're like, no, I don't want to.
Yeah, I mean, like with the trailer, it's impossible, right?
Well, right, you need to watch that.
Yeah,
but they don't mention the First Order and Resistance stuff came about.
Yeah, and
separately.
Snoogans.
I keep wanting to call him Snopes, like Snopes.
Snopes, like Snopes.com.
Yeah, I'm like that's.
Yeah, it's not true.
It's close to that.
Yeah, like I actively try and forget this stuff, and here I am trying to bring it up on camera. But like I want to go in as fresh as possible, and that's that's what we do here on the Comlink, right? We don't
no spoilers,
no spoilers,
no leaked images, none of that nonsense.
No leaked images, but we can at least put this out, in anticipation of learning more from Lucasfilm about Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Speaking of which, we just finished E3 in Celebration, but we have Comic-Con coming up.
Yeah, like
next month.
That's like 2.5 weeks away. They did it. That's so early this year.
That's right. It is. It's right after the 4th of July.
Like nobody panic, but if you're working on costumes or
right, yeah,
you don't have a lot of time.
Yeah.
Just saying.
So Star Wars at Comic-Con. They're doing a huge Star Wars presence this year.
Yeah, basically Friday at Comic-Con this year is Star Wars Day. Which I think is actually kind of typical. I think a lot of the Star Wars panels usually happen on Friday. But the big thing, obviously, is they're bringing The Force Awakens to Hall H. What do you even call Hall H? There are not words. It's
the geek mecca, the shrine of Comic-Con. Yeah, the main hall where everything breaks.
Like thousands of people.
Yeah.
It's intense. Getting into it is intense. Exiting it. I don't know if you've ever left. Like I've only been to Hall H a couple times.
Yeah.
Exiting Hall H is a little Hunger Games like. It's like just this crush of
this crush of people. Yeah. Well, it's funny because everyone's trying to get in, everyone's frantic to get in for the next thing. You're just trying to get out. Yeah. And I mean, we just did 4 days of this in Anaheim.
Yeah.
But now we have a Force Awakens specific panel coming to Comic-Con. What are any thoughts or speculation as to what they might?
Well, we know they're going to have Kathleen Kennedy there. J.J. Abrams and Lawrence Kasdan, which that one especially excites me because he is not so much like you don't see him on panels. I don't even know the last time I would have seen him on a panel somewhere.
The Big Chill panel.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
The Big Chill 20th anniversary. No, that didn't happen.
That should have happened.
Yeah, it should have. Missed opportunity.
Besides them, we're getting special guests. So I'm hoping we got quite the lineup at Celebration. A good mix of new actors and some of the familiar faces. So maybe this time Harrison Ford will maybe
come in.
Maybe.
Make sure he gets there safely.
No planes.
No planes.
Comic-Con, sir,
no doors. Please, I just want him to be okay. That would be incredible. I mean, it almost doesn't matter what they show if they're going to show something new. And the fact that Lawrence Kasdan's going to be there means that there's probably going to be some script or story conversation, maybe some reveals about certain things. Obviously, this is someone that worked on the classic trilogy closely with George and Irvin Kershner and everybody else, and now suddenly he's back in The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
There could be some amazing revelations at Comic-Con, so I can't believe that's just 2 weeks away.
I know.
Speaking of Force Awakens, everything's just starting to awaken in terms of all the stuff coming out. Obviously, Celebration was a huge milestone. Comic-Con's going to be a huge milestone, but we're already seeing these slow announcements of products coming out. Toys, right? Obviously, this Anovos helmet, this gorgeous helmet came out at Celebration.
I just realized we're 6 months away as of yesterday from Force Awakens.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right. Because today is the 19th.
The 19th, yeah.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
We are 6 months away.
So close.
High five.
High five.
Oh, it's torture. Anyway,
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. But in the coming months, we have plenty of opportunities to actually pick up a ton of merchandise. Some new toys were just announced this week. Some Force Awakens toys. You want to talk a little bit about those?
Yeah, it's interesting because this first push of merchandise, at Star Wars Weekends, we actually got our first shirt with a character from Force Awakens, and it was the First Order Stormtrooper. So that everything's kind of centered around that, and I think that's a good choice because Stormtroopers are popular. Even not necessarily hardcore Star Wars fans recognize what a Stormtrooper is, and it doesn't give away anything. Like that's the least spoilery toy you could make. So they're going to be three items at Comic-Con. You'll be able to purchase a Black Series 6-inch First Order Stormtrooper from Hasbro, and they're like, I don't know if you have any of the Black Series toys,
I do,
but they're nice.
I got the first Boba Fett. You know, the packaging is gorgeous.
Actually,
you know.
I think that came out at Comic-Con
It
as
did.
well.
Yeah, that was 2013.
Nice.
Yeah, that was I picked that up, and actually I got it at Celebration in Germany. But yeah, I remember that coming out, and they're just really, really well done. And that was a 6-inch figure. I believe that was a 6-inch figure as well. Yeah, so getting a Stormtrooper of that would be amazing.
Be incredible, and it's an exclusive. So if you want it, like, you're gonna have to get in line.
Yeah.
It's going to be the first thing you do is go to the Hasbro booth and stake out your spot.
Right.
A couple other things. There will be a Lego First Order Stormtrooper that's kind of a weird, it's not a minifig, it's like a figure. Almost, I'm trying to think there's a kind of like Mini-Mates but taller. I don't know how to describe it. But that's just for display. Like, they're not going to sell it until January. So it's kind of interesting that they're putting it out there so early. And the third thing is a car. Like, I don't know if you've seen Hot Wheels has done a whole line, of their like Star Wars mixed with cars.
Like the Vader car.
Yeah,
that
it's
was
like a
at
black.
Comic-Con last year.
Yeah, they're fun and not something I'm like, I don't know if I really. It's not like entirely my thing, but I like the line.
Well, there's been a history of mashups, like the kind of Transformer Star Wars thing that they did, which was pretty cool. I mean, if you're a fan of cars or Hot Wheels or things like that, this is kind of a cool collectible. And I think just in general with the new Stormtrooper design, it's already so iconic just in the past couple of months.
Absolutely.
It's recognizable. It's not spoilerific. New bad things are going to happen. That trailer, by the way, this is another news beat. That trailer broke YouTube records.
Oh, that's right.
As the most watched YouTube video. What was it? Was it of all time or something? We'll have to put this in the show notes.
Yeah, I can't remember what the numbers were, but it was impressive.
This isn't in our notes right now. This is just us talking here. But yeah, I mean, that was incredible. Everyone's seen it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that was like a little movie.
Multiple
times. A little movie experience in and of itself. So people already know this design. So it makes sense when it comes to toys, to basically put those out and get people excited.
Right, and that design's something too that translates to all those different types of toys, so it's perfect.
Yeah,
and that will be
cool
available.
Looking. I mean, this almost looks like a
car front
racing helmet.
And it looks like the front. I'm like, what is the front of a car? Hood. That's what it's called.
A hood. Yes.
Yeah, it looks like that a little too.
Yeah.
And that will be available to buy at Comic-Con as well. So you'll be able to buy two things and look at another thing.
Wow, that's fantastic. So a lot of stuff in the news, but probably the biggest thing that happened this week was E3, the Electronic Entertainment Expo.
I did not know what it stood for until now, so I've learned something.
There you go, right here. That's a Comlink exclusive, Electronic Entertainment Expo, E3. And so obviously Star Wars had a huge presence this week. Just the expo just wrapped up. And so we would be remiss if we didn't talk about Star Wars Battlefront. I mean, Star Wars Battlefront, which really made a huge debut at Celebration.
Right.
Was another panel I was lucky enough to host, was at the EA press conference and was also being shown, to press and things like that. Just had a massive showing this week. And they debuted the Battle of Hoth, but they did it EA DICE style. DICE is the developer. So DICE is this developer that made this incredible series called Battlefield and Battlefield Bad Company, and they make these incredible looking, incredible sounding games, both single player and multiplayer. Of course, Battlefront is entirely a multiplayer sandbox type of experience, but you can see here from this footage, this B-roll here of the Battle of Hoth is just so cinematic looking. They announced at Celebration Anaheim that you could go between first person and third person views. And this, of course, is in first person, going through Echo Base here, past a couple of X-Wings, to join the battle. And people just lost their minds when they saw this. And what's interesting is that the Battle of Hoth has been recreated many times in many video games. And, of course, I remember working on Hoth levels. I think you know this. I was the audio lead, actually, on Battlefront 2. And that was developed by Pandemic, which... is no longer making Battlefront games, obviously.
Right.
Instead, DICE is making them through EA, and DICE, the pedigree that they have with their technology, this is a very difficult game to pull off, but they have the tech in order to make these giant maps with vehicles that you can jump in and out of. And what struck me about this video is that it's just so Star Wars. I mean, it really,
looks like you're like in the trenches.
I mean, the lighting, the weapons, the detail on some of the weapons, they really got that stuff just nailed. But they added some really cool gameplay stuff here, like orbital strikes and things like that you get to see. Different units have different weapons. Like this unit here has a jetpack and a rocket launcher, and really really cool if you're a fan of the Battlefront series. This has been something that people have been clamoring for years. There's that ATST there.
This has been in the works for a little while, right?
Yeah. Well, and there hasn't been, so to put it in perspective, there hasn't been a Battlefront game on a major console like this. There have been some smaller ones, but there hasn't been a Battlefront game. Look at that. That's really awesome. Released on a major console like this since 2005. So it's been 10 years since we've seen something like this. And I think that's why people are so excited about this. The ability to just play Star Wars any way you want. Yeah. You had asked me about canon, actually, before we started shooting. Now, it's just a sandbox experience. I mean, it's hard to hold a video game, I think, to that sort of canon because the player is in control. And in fact,
you can't call that. Like, if I make this decision to attack whatever.
Yeah, you're reinterpreting, canonical moments.
Right, and making them your own. Look at you.
Yeah. Well, and they actually, I mean, what was interesting is that eventually towards the end of this, Vader shows up. Now, Vader was at the Battle of Hoth.
Sure.
But Luke shows up. Luke was at the Battle of Hoth, but they put him in his Return of the Jedi black robes.
Okay, so
in this, almost to just give the message of like, look, this is a sandbox, separate thing, Let's have Luke, in his Jedi robes go after Vader at the end of this trailer, just so you kind of know.
That's because what I wondered is I know the gameplay is not canon, but I guess the story or what do you want to call it, the structure, I wasn't sure if that was.
It's based on canon, but it's a sandbox experience.
That's a good way to describe it.
It's like asking if chess is canon.
Yeah,
it's
you're
a game.
You're making different moves the whole time.
Yeah. That's kind of what it's like. I mean, it's not a story-driven type of experience, say like Knights of the Old Republic or something like that. And really the only people that can speak to official canon, of course, is the story group. But video games certainly haven't been slowing down. We saw that, and then we saw what else? We saw Disney Infinity.
Disney Infinity,
right?
Which
now you're a fan of Disney Infinity.
I'm excited about because I don't play a ton of video games. I'm just not good at them. I'm terribly coordinated, and also they give me motion sickness. So first-person shooters are a non-starter. But Disney Infinity, I found that I can play, and my two favorite things are, I love Disney. And I love Star Wars. So when they announced those sets, I'm like, this is made for me. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. And I'm like, and the figures are so great, too, that even if I didn't play the game, I'd be purchasing them all.
Yeah.
They have a very specific style that actually quite matches the Clone Wars.
Interesting, right?
Yeah, it's really close.
Yeah.
So those characters especially, and the Rebels characters they just announced, that fits the Disney Infinity style wonderfully.
I loved the look of the Stormtroopers. I loved the look of Darth Vader. I loved the look of Han Solo.
Yeah.
And you're right, it's got this kind of cartoony, shaded version of these characters, but it's very uniquely Disney Infinity something.
Yeah, and they specifically did that so that they could justify having, because the style is the same whether the character is Marvel or Disney.
Right.
So they wanted to make this unique style so that it was not so much a stretch to play with Iron Man and Mickey Mouse, for example, like in the toy box.
That's pretty cool. So it kind of uniforms the style. So
exactly.
If someone hasn't played, so I haven't played Disney Infinity. I looked really closely at Skylanders when it came out, and some of those other, obviously Nintendo's doing Amiibo, and this idea of like interacting with toys in your games. Now, for someone like me who hasn't played Disney Infinity, what's sort of the first thing that you need to know if you're interested in checking it out? That
you do need to buy the toys, because at first I was a little resistant about that. I was a little grumpy old lady. I'm like, why can't I just put in a disc? That's not how it works. You get a starter pack. Usually comes with a few figures. For Star Wars, they're putting out 4 packs. And the Rise Against the Empire one, which we just saw a trailer for, I think it was released at E3, has Luke and Leia. So you get 2 figures. You get like a base to put them on, and once you put them on the base, it talks to the game. It's my super
very technical. No, I'm with you.
And it puts your whatever figure you're using in the game, and you can go on missions specifically. So if in Rise Against the Empire, you can play on Hoth, you can play on Tatooine, and kind of the same thing. It's a sandbox, or you can go into toy box mode and go in this kind of in-between universe where you can build your own things, build your own worlds, and that's when you can bring in other characters.
Interesting.
To combine Star Wars, Disney, Marvel.
So you're kind of building worlds inside the game.
And both are really fun. It's a very... They should make a Star... Jessica Quest says they should make a Star Killer Disney Infinity figure.
Yes, from Jessica. They should. I would love that. If they do that, Jessica, I hope they make a proxy one as well. That would be amazing if people would be okay with that.
Wait, this is sidetrack.
Yeah.
Are there any proxy, like, did he get to action figure form?
There were a couple of proxy figures, but one was part of a Star Wars miniatures. It was like this big.
Oh,
that big.
Still.
And then there was a what do they call them? 3 3/4. That's the format.
Oh, that's like
the
the
regular
standard.
Hasbro.
Sure.
And that was part of but it was part of a larger Force Unleashed pack. So you had to buy the pack.
But still.
And it was like a Target or Toys R Us exclusive. I don't remember.
Oh, yeah, they do. Okay. But you got to be an action figure.
That was pretty cool.
That's pretty awesome.
That was pretty cool.
So, Disney Infinity, we have a request. Please, Star Killer and Proxy.
Anything Force Unleashed really would be amazing.
Not picky.
Yeah. Although they did come out with a lot of really amazing characters, with the Clone Wars and the classic trilogy and Rebels. I mean, there's a lot already immediately jumping into Disney Infinity.
Exactly. And they're going to be releasing a Force Awakens one later in the year as well.
So good.
So prepare to fill up your shelves with Disney Infinity figures.
That's right. Another game, there were a couple of games, one of which was a game, it was a Knights of the Old Republic expansion pack, which had an amazing trailer.
Yeah.
And if you haven't had a chance to check that out, you definitely want to check that out online. And I believe that was called Knights of the Fallen Empire, which is an expansion pack. But I mean, in that tradition of making amazing looking Knights of the Old Republic trailers, this one is no different. The story of looks like two brothers.
Two brothers, right? Mm-hmm.
And really looks awesome. You definitely want to check that out if you haven't had a chance. I actually go back and watch all of them. They're fantastic.
Yeah.
People have done super cuts online, and it's like watching
a
not
movie.
like super cuts, but
right, not like the cheap haircut place.
Not like the cheap haircut place. But no, they've done these massive cuts, and now if you actually put all those together, it's like a half hour.
Yeah, because they're like
content.
Significant. They're like 5-7 minutes each.
Yeah. And then there's the game, of course, which is just endless because it's online. It's an MMO. But they announced that, and then of course, Star Wars Uprising by Kabam Studios, which is a new game that looks pretty interesting. And what's fun about that, I'm a big fan of The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings stuff as well, and that's a whole other show.
We should do that show.
Yeah, coming up next.
Yes.
See, they cut away as soon as I said they cut away to Star Wars Uprising. No. But the reason I bring up The Hobbit is that there was a great Kabam Hobbit game that you could download. So the
like
same
a mobile
studio,
game as
mobile
well?
game.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
So Uprising.
tell me more.
Yeah. So I mean,
Whatever,
they're a great
Uprising.
studio to check out. I happen to know personally that a lot of people working on this game. One of them, was one of the original producers on the original Knights of the Old Republic with BioWare and Lucasarts. So. Kabam Studios is a great company, great game. Really cool trailer about this. Did you get a chance to see that one as well?
I did, and this one, as far as I know, is canon.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because it shows, if it is canon, and I believe it is, it's the first look at the galaxy post Return of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those huts there, and there's like a. I always want to call it the Imperial Remnant. I don't know what they're going to call it.
No, that's a good title for it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what they called it in
Thrawn, right? No.
Oh no! In all the expanded universe stuff, they used to call it the Imperial Remnant. What was left over from the Empire post Return of the Jedi. We don't know really what they're going to call it now. I don't know what it's going to be, but that's kind of what that looks like. Is that that bearded sort of Kyle Katarn looking bad guy in there?
Yes, absolutely.
I love that there are these kind of little nods to the 90s expanded universe stuff that came out, because it definitely feels like it's in the same wheelhouse, even if the story's different.
Yeah, it's a possibility. It's within the same, it's within the realm of possibility that they could grab onto those things.
Yeah, I really liked that.
Yeah, I liked seeing, you see the guy go around, who we assume is a good guy, showing people proof that, no, we did destroy the Death Star, even though this Imperial's saying, no, everything's fine. And I like that because it's like, no, if the Imperials were still controlling the holonet,
right,
they'd have to take physical proof around to people to...
Right, yeah, because they would try and just bury that.
And I love it's in a mobile game. Like, that's where we're getting that story. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, there's a lot of stories coming out, between the games and the comic books and Rebels and, of course, the movies. It's just, I remember when we started doing the Comlink, people were like, well, is there Star Wars news every week? And I was like, oh, you have no idea. We have to whittle it down.
Yeah, we have to, pick and choose.
Yeah. I mean, you and I could sit here and talk about this forever, but already there's just been so much that's happening this week. Next week we'll be able to talk all about Star Wars Rebels and I'm sure whatever else Lucasfilm has in store for us to announce. But not a bad first live stream.
No, I think we had a pretty good time. Plenty of information.
We even got a live tweet in there.
I know, we got a couple. Yeah, next time you guys got to come prepared with more comments.
Oh, here's one.
Oh, look at that.
Will the news show be back on a weekly basis now? Hopefully still working out the schedule. That's actually a producer comment. Let me read that like I'm not being prompted. Hopefully still working out the schedule, but lots of content to bring to you guys. Which is actually true.
That is a legitimate statement. Yeah.
Yes. We have a lot of stuff in the works. Obviously, after Celebration, we took a hiatus, but going into December,
we're on the downslide now, man.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah,
so
we'll keep busy.
We want to keep doing this live. Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, not too long after December, we have the first anthology film, so it's just never-ending.
Yeah,
it's good times.
And can we talk about this too? Because it's not that we're doing. It's not that we're doing a movie every year. It's actually, if you look at the calendar, it's 2 movies every 6 months.
It's aggressive.
Or no, it's 2 movies in 6 months, and then you take a 9-month break. And then 2 movies in 6 months, and then you take a 9-month. Yeah.
You have to wait such a short amount of time.
Yeah, because Force Awakens will be in theaters, and then we'll maybe be getting it out digitally by the time Rogue One is in.
It's very possible.
In theaters, and so it's like I can't believe that they're so close next to each other. We used to have to wait a decade or more, and now we have 6 months.
Like all the time, Star Wars forever and ever.
Yeah,
it's great.
So yes, we'll try and be back as often as possible, and hopefully you'll join us again.
Yeah.
On a regular basis. And
that would be good.
And let us know what you think in the comments, the YouTube comments, of course, on Facebook. You can also go to thecomlink.com, or we're on Twitter. You were on Twitter.
Yes, the_Comlink.
The_Comlink.
Yes.
So this has been really fun, and hopefully you'll join us again next week. There's tons of Star Wars stuff to talk about. And Amy, thanks again.
Thanks for chatting. This is good.
Amy Ratcliffe, ladies and gentlemen.
Dave Collins, he's pretty great.
All right. Well, thank you, and may the Force be with you, and we'll see you next time.